Okay, so now that you have your tea bowl formed and you have your darts made and joined, we're going to make the bottom of the tea bowl and the foot now, okay? So the things that you're going to need is your formed tea bowl, obviously. You're going to need 2 low strips for rolling your slab, a rolling pin, a ruler, another stamp so that you can make your foot in a contrasting stamp, a slip brush, your slip, a pony roller or brayer, and your fettling knife. What we're going to do first is we are going to roll out a small slab to cover this opening here so that there's no longer a hole in your pot. And remember, how you are rolling this out is you're going to gently slam it on the table, well-wedged clay. Remember, you should have wedged a piece of clay first, okay? And a lot of people had trouble with rolling, so I want you to pay particular attention to this, okay? So I've gotten this just flat enough that I can place my roller in it. I know I don't need a very large piece of clay because this is not a very large area, all right? I'm gonna take my roller and I'm going to put it right in the middle of the clay. And then I'm gonna gently press forward. And then I'm gonna pick it up, slam it down, put this right in the middle, gently press forward. Pick it up, slam it down, gently press forward. So I'm doing that roll only one time, okay? I am not rolling back and forth. I'm not getting crazy, okay? And I want to roll it one time, flip it over, roll it one time, flip it over. Roll it one time, flip it over. And now I'm just trying to get it so that it's the same thickness as the ruler here, the Lowe's ruler, okay? So roll it, and I just have a little bit more to go. Okay? Perfect. Now, if at this point you see any air bubbles, you would take your pin tool and you would pop those air bubbles, okay? And you're also going to take your metal rib and you're going to compress the clay, which will also help remove air bubbles. It's a brand new one. Okay, so I don't see any air bubbles. I'm just going to compress the clay with my metal rib, and you may find 1 or 2 there. All right, now I'm going to take this and I'm going to flip it over so that the bottom is on the clay. And what I want to do is I want to trace around the bottom of the clay as closely as I can to my tea bowl and give myself a line so that I can cut the clay out. Okay, so there we have what will be the bottom of the tea bowl. All right, and so I'm going to take my fettling knife and I'm going to cut that out. And then I'm going to make sure that it fits. Okay, and it does fit. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slip and score, always score any 2 pieces of clay that you wanna join together. So I'm gonna score with my scoring tool, my scoring rib. I'm gonna score this side as well. The clay needs to be the same moisture content, so if this is super dry and this is wet, they won't stick together. You'll need to get that wetter with some paper towel. Okay, but mine is the right moisture content. So you want to make sure you're always keeping your pieces wet, okay, with plastic and damp paper towels. So it probably fits better one way than the other. All right, so I'm gonna push that on there just a little bit, make sure it fits, and then I'm gonna take my pony roller and I'm just gonna gently roll it to make sure that the clay is adhering. Okay. Then I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to clean up those edges and make sure that they're fully joined. Okay, so the edges are, I'm just smoothing it out with my finger. That's all I'm doing. I'm not, it's nothing secret or anything. I'm just smoothing it with my fingers. Okay, and then when I'm ready, I'm going to do a nicer edge. I'm just going to smooth it with the metal rib tool all the way around. Just scraping off the excess clay. And smoothing it out. So smoothing takes a while, you know, to get your piece all nice and smooth. That takes some time. I don't often have that amount of time in demos, so I'm not gonna make this as perfect as I would if this was a piece that I wanted. It looks like it might be like just a little bit not totally even, so I'm just gonna take it and gently tap it on the table to make sure that it sits flat. Okay, that gives me a chance to round up the top again. All right, so once I'm done with that, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to make the foot. And again, the foot is going to be made out of a freshly wedged piece of clay. So I'm going to get another piece because this is no longer freshly wedged. And I don't need very much for this either. It's going to be 1/4 inches thick, which is the thickness of this, and then it's going to be 1/4 inch thick by 3/4 inches wide by 4 inches long. Okay, so I'm just going to I have way more clay than I need, so I'm actually going to cut this in half and save half of it. Actually, I think I'll use this half. And I know I'm only going to be in 3/4 of an inch wide. Okay, so that's pretty small. That's right here on your ruler, right the long line before the 2. Okay, so that's before the 1, I'm sorry. So I'm going to start to roll this. And I only need it 4 inches long, so that's not very long. Again, to roll your clay, you're going to put it in between your Lowe's sticks. You're going to put your rolling pin in the middle. You're going to give one roll out, okay? And you're going to lift it up, flip it, put it in between, and give one roll out, okay? Then you're going to lift it up, flip it, and at this point, I should be able to just roll it all the way across because it doesn't need to get any skinnier, okay? Then I'm going to compress my clay with my rib tool. Make sure there's no air bubbles in there. It was a freshly wedged piece of clay. Then I'm going to imprint. I'm going to take my pony roller and I'm going to press the stamp into the clay. Okay? And I'm going to lift it. And I'm going to do that again. Okay? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this 3/4 of an inch wide. 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to go right what I like, right in the center. So I'm going to go 3/4 of an inch, which is the long right before the 1. And I'm going to cut this down. This is kind of custom, so that's what they're saying to do. You may like it a little bit shorter or a little bit wider, a little bit thinner. You can do what you like, but 3/4 of an inch is what the directions call for. Okay, and then I'm going to trim it right from the nicest part in the middle for 4 inches. So I'm going to go down 4 inches. And then this part right here is going to be my foot, okay? And it's gonna wrap. Oop, mine didn't make it. Mine did not make it at 4 inches, so I could make it go, but I think that I'm gonna go and make my foot a little bit bigger. So that said 4 inches, and look how many inches I am short. I am 2 inches short, so I'm gonna go 6 inches, okay? I'm actually gonna go a tiny bit bigger than 6 inches. I'm gonna go 6.5 inches. That way I can trim it when I need to, if I need to, all right? So that's gonna be a better fit. So my foot was bigger than his foot, okay? So that's a little bit big, but not too much. And we are you can make this square, you can make it round, whatever you want. So I'm gonna go with that. I like that. So I'm gonna trim that right where it overlaps, because I don't want it to overlap. Okay. And then I'm gonna slip and score that edge together. It's always important to slip and score. Okay, no clay can be joined without being slipped and scored. And I'm also going to slip and score the bottom, all right, because it's being attached here. So I'm going to slip and score this, all right. Slip everything. I already scored it. Sure that I slip that edge there as well. Okay. Then I'm going to smooth everything out. Always smooth your seam. I'm going to run the rib right up the outside edge of the seam. And I like to put a small snake on the inside of the seam, just as extra protection. It doesn't have to be very big. Okay, so right here, just a small snake. I'm just going to put that right up at the inside the seam, and then I'm going to smooth that with my finger or my wood tool, whatever one. And then once I'm sure that that's on there, I'm going to smooth out the bottom so it looks nice. I'm going to flip it over, and there I have my pot. I'm going to check out my rim, make sure it's still round, make any adjustments if I need to make my rim round again. Looks pretty good. And then I'm going to just take a little bit of water on my finger, maybe a sponge, and I'm just gonna smooth my edges. I would actually get a sponge at this point. I don't have one back here, but just to smooth that out. And then smoothing the inside, you can also take a damp sponge and smooth the inside if you'd like to. They look pretty smooth. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna sign your name, because these all look kind of similar. So take that pen tool and write your name, and if you need to, your class period. Okay? And there you have it. Your tea bowl is done and ready to be dried out. You're going to put it on the to be fired shelf. Good.